Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow Room, and we're working backwards through the letter T. We just did Turina and Erkki Sven Tur, who has two U's in a row. And now we have some interesting stuff here. These are composers and people, other things. So first, since we're in the TUs, we have Tubin. Edward Tubin, who's a wonderful composer. He really is. There we go. Yeah, it looks sort of white and strange, but here we go. There you go. Does that make it clear? Yeah, this is the complete symphonies on discs. Now, see, I had them all on individual discs, and the individual discs had some couplings and things, which got stripped out. Well, some of it did, maybe, I think. I don't know. It looks like they're here in various different arrangement. So I had the individual discs. I didn't want to get rid of the individual discs because they were really convenient. And this is one of these 5 CD things with like flip outs and whatnot. So I just stuck it here in the Overflow Room. Now, Tubin was Estonia's most prominent symphonist. He was an interesting guy. He thought jazz was evil. And he represented that in his 5th symphony, particularly, not the 5th, I'm sorry, the 6th symphony, right? The second movement, which is like really scary. Ooh, my goodness, it's scary and fun, incredibly fun. Anyway, he has an interesting personal voice. First of all, his sense of register is middle voice. So there's like high bits and low bits, but most of it is like somehow in the mid-range of the orchestra, which means his music sounds like nobody else. It also sounds somewhat glum because it doesn't get up into the high, brilliant registers very often, except for like special effects. But it's really good stuff. I mean, the Second Symphony is absolutely beautiful. That's the legendary. Is marvelous. The 5th is terrific. It's got 2 sets of timpani slamming it out. The 6th, like I said, has his I Hate Jazz central movement, which is really spooky and powerful and crazy. The 4th is gorgeous. It's called Lyrica. And it has some absolutely beautiful tunes. Da 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 da. I mean, you can sing it. It's really, really a wonderful work. If you like Vaughan Williams' Pastoral Symphony or things like that, you really should hear Tubin's 4th. It's just gorgeous. Although this is a live performance, they're all with Niemi Järvi and various orchestras. This is with the Bergen Phil, the 4th, and it's a little sloppy. There's a better one on Alba that's rather more nicely put together and recorded. But otherwise, these are just slamming performances. I mean, there's some tam-tam swats here in like the 3rd and the 8th symphonies that'll knock you against the back wall. So I'm really happy to have like some spares. And I also had this one. Paavo Järvi did Tubin's 5th with the Cincinnati Symphony. And this is also just a fantastic performance. Like I said, this is the one with like 2 sets of timpani. It's very, very powerful and wonderful to listen to. And really, he's a discovery, a Scandinavian, Nordic music sort of discovery type guy. And you should hear his symphonies. You really will enjoy them. Then we have these things on ECM, the Trio Mediaeval. Now, the Trio Mediaeval was ECM's answer to Anonymous 4. Remember Anonymous 4? The equal voice polyphony female quartet on Harmonia Mundi that made a whole bunch of records, and they sold billions of copies at one point. I saw them live. They were really fun and nice people, and the music was great. I had to give them a lift at one point we were like in Upper Manhattan, and anyway. So this is Words of the Angel, the Messa de Tournai with 14th century polyphony, and modern work, Ivan Moody, Words of the Angel, with Trio Mediaeval on ECM. And then there's this one, which is called Soir d'El, which has, Lionel Power, who lived from 1370 to 1445, his Missa Alma Redemptoris Mater, another Ivan Moody thing. The Troparion of Cassiani, A Lion's Sleep. Yes, sure, of course. Gavin Bryars, who people have heard of, some Andrew Smith, and Ola Harkavy. This is all contemporary stuff. along with the medieval stuff. It makes fun for fun couplings. So I had these two, but I mean, quite frankly, I don't listen to medieval equal-voiced polyphony all that often. I just don't. So they made it into the Overflow Room. And then finally, this is a fascinating composer we need to hear more of. Tommaso Traetta, Antigone. Now, he was an Italian composer who actually wrote operas that anticipated the Gluck reform operas with lots of continuous music and all that. Fascinating guy. He was also a vibrato guy. He actually indicated it in spots in his scores, which is like kind of helpful. But there's only one recording that I know of his music, and it's this thing with who is it? Mark Minkowski, no, Christophe Rousset, and Les Talents Lyriques. It's Antigone. We all know the story of Antigone, good old Antigone. And this is a spare copy. I got to because, well, do I need to tell you how long I thought this thing was going to stay in print? I did there was a whole series of Traetta operas in manuscript score that are held in like the Royal Library in Lisbon. And you could get them on microfilm. And I ordered them on microfilm. And they showed up on microfilm. And so somewhere, sitting in a closet, I have, let's try to loosen this stuff up. The paint is still sticky on these things. You don't see these stick to it? Anyway, I have this enormous box of microfilm. And I wanted to take the microfilm and have the scores actually printed. And there's a service that does that. And it's terribly expensive. I mean, it really was. And I was going to do it, but then I said, well, I'll try one reel and see what happens. But there's like 1 billion pages on each reel. And so I may get to it one of these years because I'm very curious about his music. I really am. It's very, very interesting stuff. Although, of course, it's all getting transferred to digital medium anyway on IMSLP. So I'll be able to see more of Traetta, but he's an interesting composer. Somebody to keep your ears up for it. I would listen to Antigone. It's a beautiful work and an interesting work and a revolutionary work in its way. So, from that period, 1750s and 60s and in that area, really, really cool. And those, my friends, are some random reviews from the Overflow Room. Keep on listening, and thanks for joining me. Take care.